The other officers are also convinced the shoes are hiding something, but there's only one way to find out what's inside. At Gatwick, a British Airways flight has just touched down from St. Lucia. In the last few weeks, cocaine seizures from St. Lucia have skyrocketed, and border officers have intensified efforts to make sure no smugglers slip through the net. As the passengers disembark, the officers are on the lookout for anyone who fits the many profiles of a smuggler. Drug dog Megan is a vital tool for finding smugglers.
Just keep on the right-hand side. Take your bag off your shoulders, please, sir.
Sometimes just the presence of a dog can make nervous smugglers give themselves away. Hazel notices the man in the white collared shirt.
There was one person he wasn't making eye contact with anybody because I spoke directly to him. So we'll have a quick word with him when he comes into the baggage hall and see if he's got anything. Oh, he's just in the queue there. He looked nervous.
And he's all dressed up.
Yeah.
The passenger appears uneasy as the sniffer dog examines his cases. But Megan doesn't give a definite indication. With their suspicions aroused, they decide to question him anyway.
Hello there, sir. Are you travelling alone today? Yeah. Can you just bring your bag over to the bench for me, please? Can I see your passport and ticket, please, sir? And how long have you been away for this trip?
A week.
And what was the purpose of your vacation?
Either Jamaica or Trinidad.
Were you staying with friends over there or family or?
Well, not a girl. The last time I went to a cricket match there.
Oh, right, so there's people you don't know over there? Yeah. Okay. And how long are you going to remain in the UK before you go back to Bermuda? 2 days.
I usually do some shopping.
Yeah. Okay. Have you got your return ticket back to Bermuda?
Actually, I have to try this.
You've still got to get that, have you?
I have a bank card this morning.
Yeah, not a problem. And whereabouts will you be staying while you're here in the UK?
I was going to go to a bed and breakfast up on Shepherd's Avenue. I usually go there. I don't know the exact name of it, but it's right after the police station on Shepherd's Bush.
So you've stayed there before, have you?
Yeah.
Okay. And you packed all the bags yourself?
Yeah.
And you're aware of the contents?
Yeah.
Has anybody given you anything to bring back to the UK?
No, sir.
You're not carrying anything for anyone?
No.
Okay.
Inside the suitcase, Gary spots a large number of shoes for such a short trip and decides to examine them closely.
All I'm doing here, I'm just x-raying the shoes to make sure there's no concealments in it. Ash.
The X-ray immediately finds an anomaly. The other officers are also convinced the shoes are hiding something.
That don't look right there. That difference in the
Yeah, but these other ones look even better.
But there's only one way to find out what's inside.
I don't want him to do a...
All right, lovely.
Yes.
Yeah. Where we pull it open, and there's a package inside the seal.
It's game over for this attempted importation.
Okay.
And what looks like another big haul of cocaine from St. Lucia.
Right, the time is 09:16 hours, and what I found in there, it looks like I found a controlled drug, okay? So I'm arresting you on suspicion of the illegal importation of a controlled drug into the UK.
Under arrest, the man is transferred to the custody cells.
Okay, that's fine. Just pop round here again. I intercepted him in the Green Channel. A number of items of footwear have been found to have packages inside.
Do you understand that, what the officers told me?
Yeah.
So you've been arrested purely on suspicion of being brought in a controlled drug into the UK. Do you understand? On any medication for anything? Nothing in your luggage for you, medication-wise?
Just some weightlifting stuff.
Bodybuilder, eh?
Well, I was trying to be.
The man seems to accept that the only thing he'll be exercising is his right to legal advice.
Okay, if you just come along with me. Yeah, if you could just remove your shoes and leave them outside, because obviously it's got the laces in it. The last thing we want is you to try and harm yourself with them.
And the officers are now about to discover just how much cocaine is hidden in the shoes. Hazel and Mike examine all the shoes for drugs.
And you can just see where somebody's inserted a tool into the side to prise the sole off the main part of the shoe. There's little indentations that just would arouse your suspicion and just make you think that they'd been taken apart previously. Did you notice that on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought seeing any...
Oh, look, there's glue on this one. That's giving it away there. Look. That one's done really well. Just see the glue mark.
The concealments are sophisticated, but now the custody officer wants to know exactly what's inside the packages.
You know what's really annoying? You see a pair of shoes like that with a take-back package in the bottom with white powder in it, and they still insist, everyone goes, have you tested it, have you tested it?
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to, do you? You know it's something dodgy.
OK. Put a drop of it in there. And that's the blue-pink reaction you're looking for, according to this. Pink on the top, blue underneath, that's cocaine. It's definitely cocaine.
Will you tell the custody officer it's positive, please?
I will do.
With 200 grams of cocaine in each shoe, in all, the man was charged with importing nearly 2 kilos of cocaine, worth around £80,000. In Gatwick, the X-ray has picked up a bag with some suspicious contents. It's put back on the carousel while Calvin watches from a distance to identify the bag's owner. The passenger's girlfriend is walking ahead, a tactic often used by smugglers to avoid detection. Calvin follows the passenger through the channels, where the Class A drugs dog Rossi gives an indication on the same blue bag. The questions asked by the officers are seemingly obvious, but the answers given can be used to build up a prosecution if anything's found.
So is this all your baggage? Is there your baggage, sir? Yeah, and these are bags you took out with you? Has anybody given either anything to bring into this country? Okay, just have a quick look in the blue bag then. Yeah, just the blue one, is it? Start with that one. Start with that one. Always start with the bottom one. You know what this is? Don't touch it. Okay, apply booze to be drugs.
The suitcase is full of sealed packages, which look like cannabis. The couple are arrested immediately.
I meant to win questions, something which later rely in court. Anything you do so may be given in evidence. Do you both understand? Do you understand? Is that yes? Do you understand? Yep? Okay. All right, let's take it out the back now.
Cannabis is a Class C drug, but a quantity like this is worth thousands of pounds, so the investigation starts immediately. And Calvin needs to make sure the right people feel the full force of the law.
Between 10 and 15, probably. There's probably more than 15 kilos. I mean, obviously we'll have to spike it first and test it, to establish, do a field test to establish what actually the drug is. I'm making an assumption at the moment it's cannabis. So, what? Okay, and he'll explain your legal rights.
Whatever the packages contain, it's not looking good for this suspect.
Move across, okay?
The custody suite is where suspected smugglers are welcomed back into the UK. It's a significant seizure, but Calvin's job now is to make sure everyone involved in the importation is identified and prosecuted.
What are you doing?
Right, sit down, sit down. All we'll do is we'll let the custody officer know you're here, okay?
Okay.
And then he'll come and see you and explain your legal rights. Okay? Sit down now. Ah. Okay, again.
Intercepted Green Channel, North Terminal.
North Terminal. And opened a blue suitcase, which he did. Unzipped it, found it to contain foam. Under the foam with tape-back packages, which I believe to be controlled drugs.
11:38.
Cell number 2. Before you do, you can take your shoes off and leave them outside and your belt. I'll get you. You've got a blanket, maybe. You take your shoes off now. Just leave them outside here. Yeah. Do you want any drink of water or anything? Sure? Okay. You can't smoke here, I'm afraid. And the name on this bag relates to the female. That will tie her into this bag as well as him.
It's unclear who's involved, so the female passenger must also be kept in custody.
But it looks like there could be controlled drugs in one of the bags. Do you understand it? Sorry?
No, what drug it is?
No, I don't know yet. They will find out when they do, they'll let me know. Let you know. We just suspected that they are drugs at the moment.
Calvin suspects the packages contain cannabis. And the smell is unmistakable.
We check them all just to make sure they all are cannabis rather than we've had concealments before where some are being cannabis and some being cocaine.
They do all contain cannabis.
And the weight of the packages is 20.63 kilos.
It's a huge amount of drugs off the streets. The cannabis found in Gatwick was valued at £55,000. The man has since pleaded guilty. The female passenger pleaded not guilty and will stand trial soon. At Gatwick Airport, a flight has just landed from Montego Bay in Jamaica. UK border agency officers are using drug detection dogs and an X-ray machine to monitor luggage coming off the flight. A dog indication has been given on 2 suitcases, and the X-ray strongly suggests that there are drug smugglers on the flight. In the baggage reclaim area, officers closely monitor the first of the passengers to collect one of the suspect's suitcases. A young mother and child collect the case and head towards the customs channels. It's here that Officer Mike steps in to stop the woman and break the news to her.
Controlled drug. Your bags. The bags you just said are yours. Therefore, I am arresting you on suspicion of being involved in the importation of controlled drug. Do not have to say anything, so it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something may later rely in court. Anything you do so may be given in evidence. Do you understand?
The woman is led away for further questioning, but protests her innocence.
Please don't play the game. Right, we're going to be getting some women in to search you anyway.
That's fine.
Meanwhile, the second suspect suitcase is collected by another passenger.
Hello there, sir. You travelling alone today? Just bring your bag over to the bench for me, please.
The man declares he's the owner of the suitcase, so Officer Gary confirms his fate.
I'm arresting you on suspicion of the illegal importation of a controlled drug into the UK. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention, when questioned, something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand you've been arrested and cautioned? Right, if you come this way with me.
The man is also led away for further questioning.
Straight over towards that officer over there.
With both passengers now under arrest, Gary can finally inspect the suspicious brown packages found in the suitcases.
We suspect them to contain herbal cannabis, and that's why the gentleman's been arrested and cautioned.
The contents of the packages will need to be formally assessed to get an idea about the weight and the value of the drugs. A strip search was conducted on both passengers, but no further packages were found. The woman is led away to the airport's custody suite to be detained, whilst Officer Mike assesses the quantity and value of the drugs found in her suitcase.
She had 8 blocks in the bag. All of them are about 2 kilos each, but I'll chuck them on the scales in a minute and just get a weight of all of them together.
With such a large haul of suspect packages, a field test must be conducted to confirm that the substance definitely is herbal cannabis.
Put the first drop on it, then that will go through onto the second bit of filter paper. Then put some of this powdery stuff on it. And if it's positive, it should go sort of a dark red colour. Right, that's a positive then.
OK, there's a couple of blankets there. If you want anything, just give us a buzz. OK?
The male passenger is also detained at the custody suite. A series of large, brown, sealed packages are pulled from the bottom of the man's suitcase. Gary weighs the packages of drugs to find out how much the male passenger was carrying.
And as you can see there, the 8 blocks weigh approximately 17.26 kilograms. So there's probably about 16.5 to 17 kilograms of herbal cannabis within them packages.
The 16 blocks found in both suitcases weighed over 34 kilograms in total and had a street value of £80,000 to £100,000. Successful drug seizures at sea are often triggered by foreign surveillance aircraft who alert British Customs when a suspicious vessel is headed for UK waters.
In February 2000, we became alerted to suspicious activity by the French Customs Service, who had been patrolling the western fringes of the Bay of Biscay. They did some basic checks, as they do in all vessels, and found out that it had been registered from Panama. They also noticed that there was a number of items on board which appeared to be barrels, which they thought was a little bit unusual. They got in quite close to it, and I think as a result of that, the vessel turned off its GPS, which the French thought a little bit unusual. They were suspicious of that. The vessel was heading towards the UK mainland. Immediately, the French alerted the British cutters. We were very fortunate in that we had quite a number of cutters who were actually in South Coast ports at the time, and therefore they were immediately deployed to the coordinates that the French were constantly giving for the vessel. With no GPS, the aircraft needed to maintain constant visual contact with the vessel named the Deep Diver. It was very important to continue to track the vessel, and round the clock, this was during the day and at night, they sent up light aircraft to continue that monitoring. As the Deep Diver entered British waters, the suspects on board knew they were being watched from all sides. The cutters who were surveilling the Deep Diver were able to observe the barrels being jettisoned by someone on that particular vessel into the English Channel. The cutter crew decided to strike. They don't know what they're going to find. It could be that there are firearms on board, and officers have met their death in doing this type of work before. Once on board, the crew were arrested immediately. Meanwhile, the RIB team searched for the evidence. Their swift action recovered all the barrels containing one of the biggest hauls of cannabis for years. And when all the barrels were recovered, it totaled 680 kilos of cannabis, which then had a street value in the region of about £3.5 to £4 million. So it was a very significant seizure of cannabis. They were all eventually found guilty by jury trial, and they were sentenced to 9, 7 and 5 years. Thanks to the cutters, 3 more drug smugglers were safely behind bars. Back in Dover, the next target has been pulled by the specialist rummage team. It's an awkward load, exactly the sort of cover used by smugglers to conceal drugs and tobacco.
It's just such a loose description, isn't it? I mean, it is. It's a children's playground, isn't it, basically?
Yeah. Well, at the moment, it's been quite easy.
Yeah, the bags of balls, yeah. Oh, right.
Exactly go.
Yeah. It might take a while. It's all going to be handballed off, basically. I mean, I don't know whether they get a forklift in there and get some of the stuff, but... I mean, yeah, you see things like this now and again, but it's not the norm. I mean, I'm just guessing it's some sort of children's playground that's been out in Spain for the season and is being brought back. It is a good cover load, isn't it? I mean, it's very difficult to get over the top of and to see in amongst.
After hours of offloading, the team finds some suspiciously heavy wooden boxes.
As soon as I saw it,
yeah.
That's not right.
No, they've made it look like the spongy steps, haven't they?
It's extremely suspicious, so the team decide to drill the boxes.
And I mean, you saw the load, how difficult it was to get in. They've managed to get themselves in there, identified these packages. They've drilled a hole, and inside there's some green plastic. I think it's in that one. It's in that one. It's in that one. And it's in that one.
Stuart thinks the plastic packaging could indicate drugs.
I would think that there'll be a large quantity of cannabis in there, maybe up to a tonne.
The driver is arrested while they work out what they found.
But it's a slow, methodical process now. The guy's arrested, there's no rush.
After another 2 hours of careful unpacking, the moment of truth has arrived.
He's just about to take the lid off. I think in the porn industry, this is the money shot, isn't it?
It's a massive haul of what looks like cannabis.
Can't smell anything. I'm guessing it's cannabis resin in there.
You can't smell it.
Still can't get anything off
All
it.
it smells of plastic.
All the boxes are full of bales of cannabis, which have apparently come from a special garden.
The maker's manufacturer mark. It's just their. It's come from that particular cannabis farm in Morocco, or wherever it is it's come from, and that they put their own stamp on it, and that's how it gets shipped out.
The officers now want to know just how much they've seized from the smugglers. It's the biggest haul of cannabis at Dover for years.
Sorry, I can 928 kilos. About.
And the specialist rummage team are delighted.
928 kilos is nearly a tonne, so that's excellent. We've had a bit of a lean period actually, our team. We've gone 3 months maybe without anything. We've had a few little cigarette seizures might have been on the way, but this is what we call a proper job, really.